I thank you, Advocate Jasmine Damkewala, for joining us. However, before I go across to Kamna Pandey again for her inputs, I want to go across to Ambika Shukla, trustee PFA, who's also joining us on this broadcast. Ambika Shukla ma'am, I want to understand your first reaction to the directive of the Supreme Court on this entire case.
It is deeply disappointing because there is no difference between this order and the original August 11th order, which this order was supposed to review and revise and remedy. There is all it has done is return to that same impractical, unimplementable, and inhumane order of August 11th, which this court itself had intervened to change. So if we are returning to the August 11th order, which was discarded because it was found to be unimplementable and deeply disturbing to the most of the country, why would the Supreme Court, without giving any opportunity to be heard, repeat the same order? It doesn't have any logic. It doesn't show any kind of deliberation. And it is certainly not what is expected from the apex court of the country. The apex court of the country is expected to deliberate, offer solutions, real solutions, after hearing all stakeholders. Here, no such thing has been done. The court has arrived with a printed out decision already without hearing anybody. So what was the purpose of intervening on August the 22nd if they were going to simply repeat the August the 11th order? I don't see the point of it. I don't think any thought has gone into this. It seems to be a very prejudiced, extremely one-sided, and extremely unthought through decision. And I feel sure that wiser counsel will prevail, and I feel sure that the Chief Justice and whoever is in a position to review and revise this order will step forward, because this is as unacceptable to the country as the August 11th. Post-August 11th, we saw protests all around the country. The same thing will happen now, because this order is unimplementable. It doesn't even have the clarity that the August 11th one, which mentioned municipal shelters, this doesn't even mention that. It simply says removed. How can you remove animals? Animals are not encroachers on Earth. Animals are co-sharers of this planet. They may not be able to vote, but that doesn't mean we deprive them of the right to life, the right to existence, and to their homes. They don't have pakka ghars, but they live on the sides of the road. They live underneath chats. They live by the side of nalis. They live wherever they live. We don't give them anything, and now we are depriving them even of their right to exist. It seems this is not the country of ahimsa. This is not Mahatma Gandhi's country. This is not the country of Vasudev Kutumbakam. Surely this is completely different, one-sided, selfish, human-centric, and impractical order that I hope to see change immediately.
Right. Also, ma'am, there has been a significant directive where it states that you should not relocate them, because relocating them will defeat the entire purpose of this exercise. How do you look at that?
Correct, because you cannot relocate dogs. If you relocate dogs, what will happen to the monkey population? What will happen to the rat population? What will happen to the cat population? What will happen to there is something known as an ecological balance, which I'm sure our Supreme Court is aware of, and it is not something that we should or is advisable to fiddle with in this arbitrary fashion. You have not called for any statistics. You don't even know of the number of dogs. Without even knowing a number or based on any rational, concrete facts, evidence, you have not gone through the steps. Why don't you ask for a census? Why don't you ask for surveys? Why don't you ask for the basic? The Supreme Court recently lifted the ban on crackers. Did the Supreme Court consider the ramifications of lifting a ban on crackers in a city and a region which is struggling for breath? It seems that we are having more and more arbitrary decisions based on personal prejudice rather than any rational kind of approach, which is what the Supreme Court is supposed to offer the country. So I would suggest that all right-thinking Indians understand what is happening. We cannot have this arbitrary approach. Firstly, the Supreme Court imposed a figure of like a cost to be heard, and then didn't hear us. When people paid 2 lakhs to be heard, then the Supreme Court didn't even give them the choice to exercise that right. So what were you charging 2 lakhs for? Simply for what? Not even for the right to be heard. Firstly, you charge for the right to be heard, and then you don't even hear. So this seems a bit dishonest to me, and it seems arbitrary, and it seems like something that needs to be reviewed and needs to be thought through by every Indian. Is this the country we want to live in? Is this the kind of laws we want to be governed by? Is this the kind of approach we are going to subject our lives to? Completely arbitrary, unthought through, and no compassion whatsoever. I mean, the Supreme Court is supposed to exercise compassion at the end of the day. When you defend the weakest of the weak, and animals are surely the weakest of the weak, you need to exercise compassion, and that is what the court has always shown. Whenever other avenues have been closed, it is always the court that has opened its heart and opened its mind and opened its doors to the weakest of the weak. And I hope that is something that India will never change. This is the country of Mahatma Gandhi. This is the country of Ahimsa. This is the country of Vasudev Kutumbakam. Please let us never change that. It will mean not just death and disaster for these animals, it will mean death and disaster for every weak section of society.
Absolutely.
So let us not go down that path. It's a very slippery slope.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ambika Shukla, for joining us on this broadcast.